Welcome to episode Spartan 117 of the Guardian 1 podcast. We record live Thursdays at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, right here on twitch.tv/Guardian 1 Network. My name is Remy, and tonight I am joined by Jez.
Good morning.
Agrios.
Greetings, Guardians.
Sharks.
Yo, everybody!
And Gray.
Good evening, everyone.
We are going to be talking about all things Destiny, but first, housekeeping.
Hello, Guardians. Thank you for listening to the podcast, however it is that you are choosing to listen. Be sure to follow Guardian 1 on Twitter at G1net. That's G1NET. In addition, be sure to check out the Guardian 1 website at guardian1.net. If you want to send us an email, you can send it to feedback@guardian1.net. We also have a Bungie.net forums group. We utilize the forums for both comments and feedback, so be sure to join the conversations going on there. Big thank you to all those currently in the Twitch chat. As Remy said at the top of the podcast, you can watch the show live at twitch.tv/Guardian1 Network. We broadcast every Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. If you can't catch the live show, you can always find the podcast on iTunes, as well as upload it to the Guardian 1 YouTube channel at youtube.com/Guardian1 Network. Guardian 1 is a proud member of the Guardian Radio Network, so be sure to check out the Guardian Radio Network website at theguardiansofdestiny.com. There you'll find all of the different podcasts as part of the network, including the flagship podcast Guardian Radio. They broadcast every Monday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Guardian Radio. You can also follow their Twitter account at Guardians of D and their YouTube channel, youtube.com/Guardians of D. Other podcasts that are part of the Guardian Radio Network include Ghosts and Echoes, a podcast that contains a bit of fan fiction and audio versions of the Grimoire cards, as well as the Destiny lore-focused podcast called Focus Fire Chat. Once again, thanks for joining us on the podcast. I'll see you again next week.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Brand new 2017 Hollow River. Okay, lots of stuff to talk about today. Lots of things that I want to talk about in Destiny, but I really feel like we've talked about everything. I feel like we've just talked about everything before, and I feel like a broken record every week, and I still want to talk about it. I just don't want to be the only one. I want the listeners or my panel to think to themselves, this is lame. Like I've laid off the vault space talk as much as possible, even though that's what's keeping me from really enjoying Destiny. You know what? Let's start there. I deleted like 20 things from my armor and from my weapons on both systems. And it really absolutely 1000% makes a difference in my interest in playing. Like having space to just put stuff away so I can look at it later makes so much difference. Like I'll get something and I'll think this is a pretty good roll on an item that I might use, and just having a place to put it and be able to move on and continue playing it's really important. It's really important, and it actually made me really happy to throw away some stuff, but I'm still very much suffering from not being interested in doing that. I have looked at this stuff for so long that it's just, I just want to keep it. I'll just admit it. I'm just a hoarder. Like not in real life. I don't have money for that. But like in a video game, I will do that. Final Fantasy 15. I'm just picking up everything, everywhere I go. I'm just collecting it all. So. It was nice to play some Destiny without having the vault space sitting on my head, but at the same time, it's going to come back. It's going to come back soon, and I'm going to have to make more decisions that I'm not interested in making. But let's see, Jez, where are you at in the world of Destiny? What was the last thing that you did, and are you enjoying it?
I think I was doing the weekly quests by myself. That was about it.
Yeah, is that what it's become?
Really
you just go in for the chest?
Yeah, just because the armor looked nice on Titans, but that's about it.
I see. Sharks, where are you in all of this? How are you faring in Destiny? I know that you had some games shipped to you by our very own Agrios, and so you've got other things to do. And I know that I know that you were a video game player before Destiny came along, and then Destiny showed up, and I feel like you just cut everyone else off. You just cut every other video game out of your life, and you've just focused on Destiny. And I think that that's really great, but you seemed really excited last week about playing other things. So how have those other games affected your current Destiny playing levels?
I pretty much took a week off of Destiny. I played 2 days, and that was the last 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, all day. I played Iron Banner. Why? I have no idea. Just to piss me off first day, I think. But I have taken a break. I was an avid video game player before. I don't know. It's been kind of weird these last few years, not really wanting to engage in other games. I mean, I have. I remember year one, Agrios talked me into getting Grand Theft Auto during that lull, and we actually played that a lot. If you go on time wasted on Destiny, there's this big white spot, and that was Grand Theft Auto for me. But I mean, if you compare me to most other people, I still went back to Destiny, and I think with all these games that I have, it's given me the opportunity to, try a whole bunch of different things and stay away from Destiny for a while. I think it's a good thing. You get burnt out on it. And for me, I mean, I don't know where you guys are at as far as what you're after, but I mean, it's been like this for a long time. There is almost nothing that I can get from Destiny right now that I don't have already. In fact, the one thing I'm missing is the raid ship, which lots of people are missing. And I pushed myself into Dakota. I was going to have a raid group tomorrow. So I pushed myself into doing that. And I thought, okay, what the heck, that's only an hour out of your day, and then I can do whatever afterwards. But yeah, I've kind of stayed away from Destiny, but I don't want to completely lose my roots. So I am trying to play it a little bit. And like I say, for the last 2 days, I've been grinding Iron Banner.
I see. I've played one match on both systems just to get that ornament chest. And that's it. You know what I've noticed is for like the week before this, like the last 2 weeks, I think the only thing that I've done in Destiny is go get my presents from Varix and each of those main things from the director for both of those different chests. And that's it. That's all I've really done in the last 2 weeks, besides spending hours and hours. Unilala says that she needs to take an hour to go through her vault. I'm telling you what, you might want to set aside 2 hours because, you know what? You don't have to go through 2 systems. Never mind. An hour is probably fine.
Well, I've gotten to the point now where I kind of believe we're not going to bring this forward to Destiny 2. And I don't, my vault is full. Don't get me wrong. But, but I randomly just delete stuff here and there because there's no point. I mean, what's dumb is like my vault right now, if you looked at my vault, you would, I don't know. I mean, no, I don't even know why I do this, but I have five primary, 5 secondary, 5 heavy, all 400 stuff that I can use to infuse. And I have the same, I think I have 3 helmets, 3 gauntlets, 3 chest pieces, and 3 leg pieces that I can use for infusion.
That's
and
cool.
Everything else, I have like 50 exotic engrams sitting in my vault right now. And I don't know why I'm really doing it, because it takes away from the fun if the same thing happens as far as what we had before, if they do give us any more light. But I have a feeling they're not going to do that anyways. But yeah. I don't know. I don't have the problem anymore. I have the problem, and I don't like deleting stuff. But I at the same time, I'm almost to the point I don't care. Well, I've said this like this is the 3rd week in a row. If we stream for the Destiny Con, stream for St. Jude's, And during our stream, if we get $25,000, I'll delete everything. I'll literally delete it all. So it's like that. You can't take away my memories. You can take away my shit. You can't take away my memories.
Okay, I want you to consider maybe not deleting everything, just because there has been hints that, talking about like our guardians moving forward in some capacity, and I believe that when you delete one of your characters, like if it had that specific grimoire on it or that ghost, those things go away. So maybe consider just deleting all the stuff that you have. Like
from Rise of Iron on, you would lose the grimoire you gained with that particular character.
Yeah.
But prior to Rise of Iron, your grimoire and such is account bound.
Well, I know that the gold chests, when you were trying to get the year 1 stuff, if you deleted a character that had one of those chests grabbed, you had to get them all on one character in order for that to work out.
Didn't they say that was a glitch? I could have swore that Bungie had acknowledged that, and they said, yeah, it is happening, but it's not really supposed to, and that maybe in the future it would get fixed.
But that wasn't a grimoire issue, Remy. That was like a moment of triumphs or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well, I was just talking about grimoire.
So maybe don't delete everything. Just consider it. We've got some time. I just don't want you to be, like the second most hardcore person in this clan having nothing. Like if anything does carry over, you don't have anything going into Destiny 2. I mean, I guess it wouldn't really matter to you because you'll just be hardcore there too. But what's crazy, Sharks, is with this time that I've taken off to play Final Fantasy, every time I do go back to Destiny, I'm like, man, this game is awesome. Like the graphics are so amazing and everything is like colored great and it feels so fantastic. And it's like it's difficult getting used to games that don't have such great control. And the cameras on Final Fantasy 15, they leave something to be desired.
They suck. Yeah, they suck bad.
Gray, how are you doing in the world of Destiny? I feel like I haven't seen you forever, and I mean, it's not like we played a lot before, but I don't know, like how have your times been? How's your Destiny times been?
Yeah, so if we want to kick off the first week of the Final Fantasy podcast, I'd be happy to contribute.
I'm interested in that as well.
That was my weekend, but I did dive back into Destiny after Tuesday, playing a little Iron Banner. So for me, since I'm not much of a collector, there's certainly some things in the game that I still don't have, and for some reason the drive inside me to really put in the effort and find the groups of people necessary, and I mean it's not hard to find because we've got such a great community here in Guardian 1, but even just to reach out and say, I want to participate and do this activity. I'm kind of thinking of the 2 challenge modes. I haven't done those on hard for the raid yet. It just that was a really busy time and everybody was doing it and I didn't have a chance to jump in, and now it's so far down the line, I'm like, my heart just isn't quite into doing that right now. But jumping into Iron Banner these past couple days was fun and infuriating at the same time. For one, there's nothing quite like the gunplay that Destiny, and it really shows. It always shows how much work they put into the gunplay. With that said, the shotgun meta that is so strong right now can be very infuriating when I conform to the meta quite frequently in my past, and I'm the one who would use Universal Remote when it was the top gun to use. But for some reason, I wanted to play the long game. I wanted to focus on using snipers and using pulse rifles, and it just was very hard to make sure I was in the right location, making the right movements without allowing the closing speed of somebody or getting pinched by somebody and then just shotgun down way too fast. Even times where I feel like I was making the intelligent play in how I was using the map and how I was moving around the other player in order to coordinate my attack and get off, many seconds worth of shots on him before they could close and attack me, and they still are able to take me down before I can take them down. So that was the infuriating part. Some of it, though, is still a little bit of me shaken off some rust, because I find that when I'm not playing Destiny every day, my reaction times aren't the same as what they were when I was playing Destiny every day. So I got a little bit of rust to shake off to see if that could help too.
Yeah, I hear you on the rest. I I have a feeling that you and I both like romanticize the image in our head like Destiny, man, this is awesome. And then you play it and it feels great. And then it's like there is no backpedal. Like I would love to see backpedal in Destiny. Like you can walk forward and run forward. You can only walk backwards. Well, how about I want to run backwards? You know, like this would be a really great thing to have in Destiny. I feel like, again, 100th podcast in a row where I said I love the hell out of that I can't even remember the name of it now. The Tress Zapper. It's just so good. It's just so good. Like I see the guys sliding towards me, and by that time it's just over for them. So what I'm having to deal with right now, my most frustrating part of playing Destiny, specifically PvP, is getting shot through walls. And that's such a bummer. And I've been seeing a lot of people posting about it. So I'm wondering if it's becoming more of a problem, or if people are just, working its way to the surface. But I know that I will be in a match with somebody. We will be dancing, and I will break off. I will disengage with plenty of time of health to move out of the way. And then once I'm out of line of sight, bullets come straight through walls at me and hit me like I'm talking like maybe not a full second afterwards, but it feels like at least a full second afterwards. So this is frustrating. Like I see that Sharks is wiggling his finger there. Sharks, what you got?
Okay, so I didn't know we were going to get into this. I agree with both of you. It's absolutely asinine what's going on in PvP right now. Now, I said that I went into PvP the last 2 days, and when I got on, I streamed all day long. And the first day, my wife came home, and she goes, "Why are you so pissed off?" And I said, "I'm done. I'm so done with this." And I think part of it was playing Battlefield. And not having these issues, but Bungie supposedly fixed this crap, right? And getting shot through walls, having people jump all over the place, having people be literally indestructible. I had one today. Dude was called X Gamer. I even remember his name, X Gamer, and I was like, yeah, he's an ex-gamer because he's a piece of shit now, because he just stands there, he waves at you, you sit there and blast him with every bullet you have, and then he, bam, one-shots you. And I'm just like, how's that even possible? It's just so stupid. The lag, the red bars, the glitchiness, it's just so frustrating. Day one. For me, day 2 was different, which was today. Today, I decided, this is Destiny. This is how Destiny is. It's not getting better. It's getting worse. If you're going to play Destiny, you got to deal with this. So I turned on my stream. I turned on some music. I was rocking out to music and blasting people. And wow, it was so much better sitting there thinking like that. I was like, every single match, I was like 2-3 kill death, 2 or 3.0 to 1. It's like, just way better just sitting in there not worrying about it. But yeah, I totally understand both of you being frustrated with that, because it sucks, really sucks bad, and it's gotten worse. It's not gotten better.
Okay, so I want to know, I hear a lot of people blaming this on a P2P connection and not dedicated servers, and I want to know right now, do any of us know conclusively 100% that if there was dedicated servers, that these types of things, getting shot through the walls, lag in this, would that actually go away? Because I know that there's a lot of people who think that that's a magical fix. And what would it take for Bungie to do this? And do you think that this is definitely something they have to do with Destiny 2? Any of you?
Dedicated servers cost a lot of money.
Okay.
Especially for the amount you need to support the number of people Destiny has playing, but they are making a lot of money and can afford to do that, especially for Destiny 2 now that they see the fans that are going to be coming in. Because it's a risk, it's a gamble. This was a completely new IP. This is the first one Bungie did on their own, and I can definitely see perhaps, and they already knew peer-to-peer. Their engineers had been working peer-to-peer on Halo for years, so they already knew peer-to-peer. So it's something they knew they could do, and getting your own servers is a bit of a risk. It's just like Sharks mentioned, though, that he didn't have these problems on Battlefield. Battlefield has dedicated servers. So what you experienced, Remy, here's what it was. You were lagging one direction, the other guy's lagging the other direction. It makes a big gulf. On his screen, he put 2 shots into your head, and he's like, what the hell? Why didn't that guy die? I shot him twice. And then the kill pops up, and he's like, oh, okay, there it registered. On your screen, you're shooting at him, you're like, oh shit, my health's low, duck behind this wall, then his shots register. In the game knew that both of you could see each other, and it knew what shots you put on each other. But it took that long to sort it out. He shot you when you were in the open. You just didn't know it to take cover soon enough.
Yeah, I suppose that that might be part of that rust too, is knowing that I need to break off way ahead of time. But I feel like it's not always the case, and
you
also
wouldn't need to have that if it weren't for the peer-to-peer connection. You would be able to use your instincts appropriately, because right now the problem is that time's variable.
Mm-hmm.
If you always gave yourself as much time as you would have needed to not die there, to your visual interpretation what's going on, you'd stop getting kills.
Yeah. You know what?
You got to risk it, and you got to have faith that it's going to work, and the times it doesn't, you just have to eat that and understand that the other guy that is going to have to eat that the same number of times, likely the other way, unless he's some sort of red bar issue person.
I feel like as my skill has gained over the last couple of years in Destiny, that I've felt this well up of, well, I can do this. I can take that other Guardian down. And so I do spend those extra seconds, instead of hiding and regrouping, I spend those extra seconds trying to put those extra shots on him. And I feel like probably 75% of the time it's worth it. Like I've taken that player out of combat, for 10 seconds or whatever it takes to respawn. So yeah, you know what? The problem is that it is variable. Sometimes I can wait until the last second and I can duck out and I won't be hit again. So I don't know. Lays in chat, how's it going, Lays? Says no matter what servers, people all over the world have different kinds of connections. I don't think it's a magic fix. And a lot of people do think it's a magic fix, Agrios. So what is the difference here? Dedicated servers, I'm talking to it and it's talking to me and it's talking to him at the same time. How is that different or better than us talking to each other directly?
Well, because it's going to be a constant. The amount of life that you guys can exchange while looking at each other before you have to take cover is going to be a constant. Every time you'll know when to take cover because it's going to be at that same point. Right now at the peer-to-peer, you don't know. You might have this amount of time. You might have this amount of time.
I think the easiest way to explain it. This is more like layman's terms because this isn't really how it works. But to give you an idea how it works, right now, for instance, Mark Turk just upgraded his internet. Right? If you listen to Guardian Radio this week, he talked about upgrading his internet. 1 gig up, 1 gig down. Like that's
holy crap.
That's insanity.
That's insanity.
He would, if we played together and he was on the other team, he would get all of his information and send out all of his information so much faster than I would. Okay, so in theory, like even though I have good connection, that those numbers would just kick my ass. But in a dedicated server, even though he's got that awesome connection and I've just got good connection, the dedicated server part says, okay, this is how much information you're allowed to pull in and pull out at the same time. So both parties are going to be taking the same information back and forth at the same time. That's kind of how it works. So that's why you won't get these like real laggy players. I mean, you still kind of can, but you don't really ever see it because the server itself is what's controlling it all.
It's the referee.
I'm actually
Right?
going to disagree with Shark on that,
Uh-oh.
that point in particular.
Well, he went the
Not
wrong
because-
direction on that, but yeah.
Not because I'm a genius when it comes down to networking technologies, but besides the bandwidth, which is what Mark Turcotte bought up to have increased bandwidth, the other piece that we're not talking about is latency. And with dedicated servers, you're much more likely to have poor latency, which can also decrease the quality of your play and cause all of these same problems: ghost bullets, invincibility, players hopping around. But it's going to be more consistent, so you won't notice that it's jumping back and forth. On average, and you can fact check me in the chat, the game Destiny will host switch on you about every 160 seconds. That means every 160 seconds, your latency and your bandwidth parameters change, which means that your interactions in the game change. If you're on a dedicated server, that's not going to happen. Overall, the latency is going to be increased because if I can just connect to my neighbor or somebody in my same town, that's a much faster connection than if I've got to ping a server in Chicago and somebody in New York is pinging a server in Chicago that I'm matching with. And now our communication piece is having to go through this intermediary. It's going to increase latency, which is going to decrease the quality of play in most situations, but it'll be consistently decreased across the board. You won't notice the variation.
Right.
I'm going to have to go ahead and agree and disagree with Gray. Okay?
Right.
That would work in an ideal world where I only played my neighbor. But since my neighbor knows this dude in South America and has always squatted up with him, I always also have to play this guy in South America. Okay? And on a peer-to-peer system, me playing that guy in South America is worse than a dedicated server any day, and is going to have more latency any day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think what Gray's
I
saying,
agree.
and I agree with what Gray's saying, is that because of how everything's going in the dedicated server, you're not noticing it. It's kind of happening to everybody.
Well, that's what I mean. The important part that Gray was right about, and the part that I say I want to agree with, is the fact that it's spreading that consistency evenly across the board, and that is the important part. Because here's the idea, Remy. In that situation you had, there was so much time between, I'm sure you've gotten kills where you're like, what happened? I know I killed that dude, and then all of a sudden it pops up later. Well, that was you on the flip side of your exchange. And the idea is that your latency is going to be more mediated by a referee in the middle with that dedicated server. Like right now, there has to be a priority set in Destiny that it's going to take somebody's PlayStation's word for it as to what ultimately happened in the end. Because that's what has to happen. There's nobody in the middle for it to say anything else other than somebody's PlayStation is going to have priority as to say how that situation resolved. Whereas in a dedicated server, the dedicated server is always the one that gets to do that and then give the information back to the two parties.
I see.
So it's going to be more fair and more even for the person going real fast and the person going real slow. Neither one of them should have a particular advantage on a dedicated server like they could have on a peer-to-peer server.
So here's another solution that we haven't really talked about. They could go dedicated servers, or they could keep it peer-to-peer. And actually, technically, they do a hybrid today. They have a peer-to-peer with a backup that's dedicated servers, but primarily driven by peer-to-peer. What if they did region locking?
Like you wouldn't be able to match up with people outside of your range?
I mean, I literally couldn't play with sharks?
Well, it depends on the size of the region. Maybe the region is continent-based.
See, the problem with that, though,
I don't think that's going to improve the connection enough, then.
The problem with that, though, is then you can't group up with your friend in Britain, manually. Because if you do, then something's got to give, because this guy can't play with the guy from Britain, and you're playing with a guy from Britain.
Which is
a worthy trade-off or not?
No, that's a terrible idea.
Depends.
It's a terrible idea. Not a worthy trade-off.
Here's the problem with it. The problem is that if you look at now, this isn't the only problem in Iron Banner, but if you look at Iron Banner, you get people doing that, and then you're stuck into groups where somebody has really bad internet, and it affects everybody else on that team or in that group. But not allowing that would help that, but at the same time, that's not the only issue. That you're still getting paired. Like I played today, and I was getting people that I know were local with red bars, and they were by themselves. Like, so there was no reason for that to be put into my game. So I don't think region locking. Region locking isn't gonna solve the problem. It's just gonna piss off people. I think what would solve it would be, but this would piss off people too, is quality locking. But then again, like for instance, Strider, who has crap internet most of the time. I mean, he's the one that swears him down his internet sucks. And would that mean that he would not be able to jump in and play games with us? That would suck too. So, I mean, there's no good answer to it, which is the problem, which is why we've been dealing with this for going on 3 years now.
Jez, is there anything that you wanted to add to this conversation? I know that you're not a big PvP player, but you're a pretty smart guy, and I'm certain that you've seen people also complaining about wanting dedicated servers. You know, is it going to be worth it to Bungie to shell out the dollars? I'm curious to know how much we're talking, because there's been many times when I thought to myself, well, I would just be interested in putting money down for a server, and then everyone in the clan could just use that server. I mean, I don't know how it works.
You say that because Sharks and I were discussing the fact that on Battlefield you can rent your own personal server to use.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Battlefield, right? Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I would definitely be interested in doing that. I think that would be cool. I mean, I would also want like an apartment and a place to, put up a bunch of gear on the wall. But I mean, this is neither here nor there. Jez, what do you have to say about this?
I disagree with everyone.
Oh, yeah? Oh, well, there it is. You heard it here first.
You can't just say that. You gotta back it up with something.
No, I don't. I can disagree without having a reason for it.
Well, right on.
I just wanted to get on everyone disagreeing with someone else, and then I just trumped everyone by saying I disagree with everyone.
Yeah, that's great. All right. Well, then why don't we move on to a conversation I like to call Iron Banner. I will probably be playing more Iron Banner this week, just because I'd like to get each of my characters up to 400. Like, I can get them all up to either 398 or 399, which is high enough to usually get a 400 drop. But just having them all sit at 400 would be really cool. But that's it. Like, I'm not really interested in that rocket launcher. I've actually moved away from rocket launchers. It's funny, for the longest time in PvP and actually in PvE, I would just sit on the Truth. I would just carry Truth with me. Really excellent tracking, really great explosions. And so, it was just something that I used. I wanted to make sure that my heavy counted. And then something clicked. Oh, you know what it was? Is I wanted to start using that trespasser. And so I needed to switch up. And I didn't really like any of the rockets. Even Yellowhorn doesn't have that great of tracking. And so I went to machine guns, because in PvE, I feel like you can put a lot more hurting on a lot more things. I've got 7 rockets. Here's an opportunity to put 7 massive areas of damage in this. Or here is 115 shots, heavy ammo shots I can put out there. And so I moved away from rockets altogether. Man, I forgot where I was going with this. Oh, I'm not interested in the Iron Banner one. Plus, there's no room for it. So I'm really just, if I do end up playing some more, it will be to just really tidy up the light level on all of my characters. But other than that, being shot through walls isn't fun. Matador 64 isn't fun. Gray, do you think that you'll be playing much more Iron Banner this week? Are you looking forward to anything?
Gets into something. I wanted to say
Just doesn't care.
that
Just doesn't care if I'm.
No. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
care,
you're
guys.
wrong. He just wants to let
I
you know
don't
you're
give a
wrong
shit.
already.
You're wrong
That's
before you
something to
start.
say.
No, the switch to machine guns, I can very clearly know that for most people that was King's Fall
Yeah.
because you could put a lot more damage because the bosses were different. Like, the difference between a rocket launcher and a machine gun is the same as a scout to an auto rifle. If you hit all your shots with your auto rifle, you're doing more damage, but you're also out in the field a lot more.
Okay. I could
And-
definitely see that.
The bosses in King's Fall were where you started to see where you could be safe in a certain place, just shoot with your machine gun, and everyone started switching over to it. That's kind of
You know-
why
You're right.
most people do use rocket launchers for like the captains, just for that quick burst damage,
Uh-huh.
because just shooting them with a machine gun takes a little bit longer.
I agree. It's a tiny bit riskier. You're totally right, though. I think that it happened right around Golgoroth specifically. You could just sit in that, bubble with mass damage and really kick it out. And Sharks has got a straight razor. I think he's just going to shave right here. He's gonna shave right here on stream. So yeah, great. Will you be
That's
playing
what he-
Iron Banner this week?
That's what Shark should do if he raises $25,000.
Oh, shave the beard. There it is.
Stream.
Oh man, I know that that shake of the head. It wasn't like a strong shake. It was a oh no.
Oh no.
I've got
Yeah.
a better racer for you.
That's an awesome sword. I want
That is
that
awesome.
sword.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna get my hunter up to rank 5. I've been enjoying it, even though Hefty and we played like 5 or 6 games last night and we didn't win a single one, so that was a little bit rough.
Any?
But it's more, yeah, we didn't win any. It was a little bit odd, but some of it was rust. Like I started off and my KD was negative, and then I finished off pretty strong positive that I probably averaged a 1.0 KD for the whole evening. So yeah, it's more. I'm gonna play it more just because I feel like my skill set has started to atrophy a little bit, and I want to tune that up. And Iron Banner is a good environment because I tend to get a good mix of player skill. Except it seemed like last night there was a pretty high bar set for the skill level of players, especially if they were running shotgun knee pads and the like. It seemed like there was a lot of that was going on. Yeah, but it's fun, and Iron Banner is always a good time. I kind of know what I'm going to expect when I go into it. Hopefully we'll get some nights so we can get the Guardian 1 crew together both on the PS4 and X1 side and get some good nights in there.
That would be really excellent. Also, you bring up a really good point about your skills atrophying. I don't really think about that as often as I probably should. So I think that alone will probably make me play a little bit more than I even want to. Sharks, what about you? Will you be playing a bunch of Iron Banner? I know that you said that you don't know why you're playing Iron Banner because you've already got extras of level 400 gear that you could use to upgrade a light level to whatever. But is there anything other than perhaps your skills atrophying?
Playing 12-man Rumble. That's what I'm playing this week. 12-man Rumble. I hate 12-man Rumble. It's not fun. The worst Iron Banner ever. I hate it. Yeah, I don't know. I said during my stream today, like sitting there, people are looking at me, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know why I'm playing. Maybe I should get off. Maybe I should go play something else. No, I'm gonna play. I can't. And my completionist wants to get rank 5 on all 3 characters, and I'm slacking. So I'm like 1 game away from rank 5 on 1. And then if I turn in all my bounties on the other 2, I'll probably be rank 5. So in theory, I'll be done. If Gray actually gets a group together on PS4, I might be inclined to play some more. I loved playing Rift with Gray. So, and I actually said that during stream today too. It's like it's not as fun. Clash is not as fun playing by yourself. In a group, it's a lot more entertaining. And that's part of the reason to play Iron Banner. That's part of the reason to play anything in Destiny right now. But yeah, no, I have to. I have to train my thumbs back to Iron. Back to the proper gun skills. So I have to do a little bit. So I'll do some more. I don't know how much more.
You just brought up such a crazy, awesome game type in my mind. 12-man Rumble, except what if you still did teams of 6? So there's friendly fire added, and you had to be paying attention to who the other people are. Maybe, with the use of like shaders, like maybe one team could wear the most obnoxious blue shader and the other team could wear the most obnoxious red shader. But there would be friendly fire. Like you would be able to kill other people on your team, but it would just be an added level of, you couldn't just shoot a rocket to the back of your friend's head because he's engaging a bunch of enemies. Like it would really make you have to focus on the other thing. And you know what though? The only problem with that is that those kills would still count for you, and it wouldn't be a team.
I've played friendly fire clash.
Yeah, no, I've played games where they put you into teams where the friendly fire counts against you.
Yeah, definitely.
That would be awesome. That would be totally rad.
Yeah. I just think that would be very cool. You'd have to. It would be funny to hear people say like, "Oh, you just killed me," because it says it pops up, so and so killed you. I don't know. That would be way funny.
But I know one thing. Playing again after playing today, playing with just music blasting and going in there and really having fun. If I do that again tomorrow. I'm doing my raid tomorrow morning, but after, if I get on Iron Banner, I do that again and I feel good about it, then I'll play more. And that's good too. Maybe I'll convince people like Maynard James and Velvet. Maybe we can even get Gray to do some trials this week.
I don't know what that is going on in the background, but it sounds like a CB radio. Like Jez has a CB radio just hanging out, and it's like, oh, this is a potato pancake. Anyone read over? So he had to go.
Unexpected unmuting issues on our stream. That was our stream in the background.
Oh yeah.
I accidentally started sound playing from our stream unexpectedly.
Okay, Agrios, what about you? Will you be playing Iron Banner this week? I wasn't planning on it. I don't want my skills to atrophy. I want to be ready for when I want to play Destiny. Do you have any reason to play? Are you interested in playing? Will you play?
Yeah, I'll probably play. I went in and set my character up to go do Night Falls and picked up the Iron Banner bounty, so I was set to go this week. Recently, schedule changes have caused Tuesday and Wednesday to be my I have to do other things day intently of the week, so I basically can't play Destiny unless there's something special going on those 2 days. So today I was doing some other things though. I didn't get into Destiny, but I definitely plan on playing some Iron Banner this weekend. I'm definitely playing a lot of other games with a lot of other people. Playing the new game Sharks has with him, and Mark Square just loaded up Warframe today, so I'm going to take him into that. I've been playing a lot of Warframe lately. And also Lego Dimensions. Lego Dimensions is a lot of fun. I've been playing a lot of Lego Dimensions. It's a pretty good game, actually. I rather enjoy it. I didn't expect to think it was any better than any other Lego games I've been playing, but it's definitely a neat concept and a neat way of doing things. And did you guys see the new Lego Undercover that's going to be coming out? Lego City Undercover? It's basically Lego Grand Theft Auto.
They've already had one a long time ago, didn't they?
Oh, I don't know. It's coming out for PlayStation 4. Was it already out for another system?
PlayStation 3?
It might have been. I don't know. I was totally unaware of it. I just saw a trailer. It was on YouTube for it the other day, and I've been paying attention to Lego stuff, I guess, more because of Lego Dimensions, but...
Oh, sorry. It came out for Wii U, so that's probably why you've never seen it.
Yeah, that's why I never heard of it. But let's see if the camera focuses on that. No, that's terrible. So the camera can't focus on that. But that's what I've been doing with my time. So I'll definitely get an Iron Banner this weekend, though.
Gotcha. Jez, Do you disagree with these guys?
That's a negative Ghost Rider.
So will you be playing Iron Banner? What is your max light level right now?
399 for all my characters.
Gotcha.
The only thing that makes it so I'm not 400 is a ghost.
Oh, and you could just pick that up at the Archon's Forge, basically at any time.
Could, but every time I do Archon's Forge, I seem to only find servitor keys, so I tend to get a lot of exploding shanks, so I can't really do it by myself.
Oh yeah, there is that. And
you don't have any friends.
No.
Yeah, nobody can help you.
Well, to be fair, even though I do have friends, no one's doing Archon's Forge.
I did do some Archon's Forge. It is hard to find people in there right now because of all the other stuff that's going on, but man, that's a bummer. I thought you were going to tell me that those servitor ones never dropped ghosts, and I was going to say, oh, I didn't know that. But you went a different direction.
They drop ghosts. I just don't get. To be fair, I normally don't get ghosts when I finish it. It's usually Saladin's Foop gun.
Lays and Velvet both say that the IB ghosts are dropping, so maybe something to consider. Go out there and get shot for a while.
It's an option.
Okay, why don't we move on to you, Agrios? What you got for us this week?
All right. Well, let's see. What did we talk about already? We're talking about Iron Banner. So update 2.5.0.1 dropped this week. They fixed a couple issues with things not dropping on patrol mode and certain things not being able to be picked up from the holiday kiosk, and some issues with inventory of Zur. As well as they added invisible physics and kill volumes to stop players from getting out of the intended playable space on a number of Crucible maps. Now, I was aware this was happening on one or two maps. I was also, as far as I knew, it was only actually useful to get cheap kills in one or two tiny spots that were even pretty difficult to get to themselves, making it rather impractical. But there's quite a list of maps here they've added kill spaces volumes to. Now, I don't know if some of this was preventative or if people actually found their way out and about on all of these maps.
I did see a person get way outside of the map on that one with the low gravity, the map with the low gravity.
The Drifter.
It was really cool to see, and I think that with the custom games, this has allowed people to just really spend their time trying to eke out, every little bit of space they can get to. So it's really nice to see this list. This is a nice long list of maps that they've changed. So I'm glad. I don't have time to keep up with even the meta, let alone keeping up with the the cheating meta. I'm gonna squeeze my way through here and shoot people when they can't shoot me. That's a bummer. that's gotta suck. I've actually seen videos of people that have snuck way outside of the map and started killing people. That's a bummer. Anyone want to talk about this? Moving on.
The only thing I think that Bungie has made a mistake with how they make these maps, as far as especially since our characters are very, very mobile, can jump really high, all this stuff, and why we don't have more tiers. I really, playing Battlefield last week, I forgot how much more of that you get in games like that. And there's the potential to have it here. They just haven't built it for whatever reason. And I think that the people that are, that have played these other games and they miss it themselves, that's why they're going out there and looking for these avenues to go up really high. I'm sure they're using it to their advantage. And it's like, oh, I'm going to get out there because nobody else is thinking about going out there. But, at the same time, I bet you those are the players that would go up on that perch up in the middle of nowhere or up on that building and snipe somebody in a different game. And I really wish that Bungie would implement something like that in one of their games. I remember when it was last year when they were bringing out some new maps and they were talking about elevation. I was like, oh, this is going to be really cool. You know, you're going to be able to, but you couldn't go up into these high spots. And I think they're really missing an opportunity there.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? This is something that's plagued me since the game first came out. Specifically, the Divide. You know, like I remember seeing all of that video footage for the Divide and thinking, oh, I can't wait to go up on top of this building and what's up on top of those freeway overhangs, and you just can't get up there. I mean, you could if there wasn't an invisible barrier, which has always really bothered me. You know, there's so much that you can do to keep people out of areas, but when it's something that you could absolutely get to, why are you keeping me out of this other than just because you don't want me up there? Like they definitely should have allowed you to at least get up on top of that one building that is adjacent to the main building that everyone hangs out on to shoot from both sides. Like it just seems like a no-brainer.
One thing I gotta say about Destiny's maps after playing a lot of Battleborn is there's not really a lot of verticality in Destiny, and you can move quite high. Whereas in Overwatch, there's particular locations that if you're not playing a character that can climb a wall or fly in the air, you can't get to.
Right.
So it's like a strategy / path system. I can't really describe it, but it's like you're trying to funnel rats into different paths instead of everyone going down the same path like in Destiny.
Well, I know that originally a lot of people were saying, oh, well, it's because of, you know, last gen or this and that. But I mean, like what Remy's talking about, some of these maps, the stuff is there already. I mean, it's already built. There's just, you have that invisible wall that's stopping you from going up there.
Like the coolest thing that people do in like gameplay matches with that, I can't remember what it's called, that map that's like got the train in the middle of the map, and you can go through it, and if you jump to the top of it, it starts counting down.
Right.
But like the very first time they showed it off during that that game with the Red Bull dude, he like jumped up on it.
Didn't he?
He jumped up on it, clanged his
That's
hammer, and started railing down at people. And that was a good moment that if you weren't forced to not be up there, probably would happen more often.
Oh yeah, totally would. Well, and that's like there were spots in that same map that people ended up finding. You can go up into these spots and you can use this as sniper ledge or whatnot, and really protect it from certain areas. But I mean, if you knew the person was up there, you could counter it. And Bungie found out, and then boom, they put those walls up there again. It's like there's no reason to stop that because anybody could go up there. You know, it's like why?
Yeah,
it's like
unlike
really want to tunnel us into this is how you should do it. This is how you should engage. This is what we want to see. And I don't know. As a gamer, that's frustrating. Which is why Agrios and I every single week, multiple times a week, would go and do our Crota runs and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, you know what? Screw you, Bungie. We can get around it, and this is how we're going to do it. Oh, well, we put a wall here. You can't do this. Well, we found another way. We'll go this way instead. We're still going to do it, you know? It's like
those are fun as hell.
Yeah, it's dumb on their part. It's really
dumb. There's a bunch of maps in Overwatch that literally have ledges that you're made to get to with a sniper. Like the main sniper has a grappling hook, and there's just like the tops of buildings that have no path to that you can either get to by flying or by a grappling hook. And like the counter to it is if that ledge is there, you know that person's there.
Right.
And in Destiny,
that's
everyone
the thing, though. Like Bungie maps just aren't designed like that. Like there aren't spots designed that you can still have the map the sniper would want to be at, that you can still have the map function. Like all the good sniper spots, like actually like shut down most of the maps in Destiny. So you gotta like deal with that sniper, you know?
Well, you remember when First Light was actually played, people would jump up on the planes or the barrels. I can't remember what they're. I think they're just like tanks or something, and just snipe from them. And people like thought that was so horrible. It's like, just get on your little scooter, speed around the other direction, and take him by surprise. He's very easy to pick out because he's hard sighting everything.
Yeah. I used to both scope that and take out the guy. I'd always check down there. Like, if I didn't immediately have a guy in front of me, I'd go see if another team sniping there. I'd scooter down, like you say, right behind him, take him out, and then take his spot and start dropping his team from there.
Yeah, I really miss, like, year one Destiny PvP. It was much more...
It was balanced.
It was fun for me.
I don't know. Maybe the community just didn't have it figured out yet, but it felt balanced originally. Like, when they started messing with it, that's when things started always going, like, one gun. But we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Remy's muted, and he doesn't know it.
All right. Anyone else on the subject, or moving on? Moving on. So, one last note of the update: they fixed the recoil on the Nova Mortis and Abaddon exotic machine guns that were added. So, if you had already got those and you just didn't like them, and it might have something to do with the recoil, you might want to give those a try again. Or wait, it says fix the issue with the recoil stat. Now, does anybody know? Does that just mean the guns are still the same as they used to be, and the stat reflects what they really are? Or is the recoil stat wrong, causing the guns to fire incorrectly?
I haven't checked, actually.
Because that just occurred to me that I'm not sure which it was. The guns may not have changed. They may have just changed what their stat reads on the card.
I find it kind of silly that they all do the same thing, though.
Yeah, you think so?
I still find that silly. Like, yeah, it makes sense for the electricity-based gun to start firing faster, because electricity is all about fast. That's not the same for Void and Solar.
So what you're saying is, let me add on to this as well. What I would like to have seen is, instead of 3 different exotics, just being able to update Thunderlord. These other ones. But wait. It could be something along the lines like the damn it, what is that fusion rifle that Eris gives you that you can swap the Murmur. So Murmur, when you switch it to Arc, it has a higher charge rate, but it has lower stability or something like this. And when you change it to Solar, it changes the stats on it as well. So that's what I would like to see. I would like to have all 3 of those guns in one. And when you change that stat, when you change the specific element, it changes the stats to it. I think that would be cool.
I agree,
Jez.
I would like.
I mean, it wouldn't matter if it was that. I mean, they already have this weird bloat with Iron Yalahorn and Yalahorn anyways. But they should, even if they are separate guns still, they should change them slightly to reflect that. Like, they are separate guns, so give it slightly different. Like, I don't know what they would do, but like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something, and I'm like, nope, you cannot add the Thorn Dot to a heavy machine gun. No one will like that. But something that's in flavor with the element.
I like what both of you said. I would love it. Remy, and let me ask if I got this right. You would make it like Murmur. You have Murmurized Thunderlord, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So I love that idea. Because it helps with the inventory issue and everything. They should do that with all kinds of guns, to be honest.
Totally.
Okay, but that aside, I agree with you totally, Jez, too. I was unaware of this till now, because I haven't got either of them yet. I have the quest, but I haven't went and completed that yet. I would love to see something differentiating them. Like, I agree with you that the arc gun, that makes sense for its special to be wind-up type thing. I totally agree that I would have the other two make a special power, like something like the void bullets leave a little like hunter smoke effect almost on impacts on other guardians or on enemies.
There is special on all three guns.
Something different?
I'm pretty sure. If I'm maybe I'm wrong on this, but I thought that I saw somewhere that the void one literally slows you down, like what void bow does. You hit people with it and they start to move slower.
Was that true? See, I haven't got either of them yet. I was just going on what Joe said.
I've got all three, but I saw that somewhere, but I hate using exotic.
Does it say on the gun?
I don't know. Give me a minute.
The last perk is incendiary rounds for Abaddon. This weapon fires faster and more accurately the longer the trigger is held.
Yeah, but no, it's the hidden perk.
The hidden perk is what? Okay, the electric arc one makes them explode randomly.
Yeah, well, no, but they all make you explode. Like when you explode, when you use the void one, I tried this part out, and this part I saw when you shoot somebody with the void one and they explode void damage. So like on a void burn, it would give extra void damage to whatever's going on.
But you're saying that Abaddon and Nova Mortis might actually have additional hidden perks, so that they're actually, both of them are actually better than Thunderlord? Because they do everything Thunderlord does plus more?
I saw it somewhere, but I don't remember where I saw it.
Yeah, the only reference I can find for the hidden perk is, like Thunderlord, Abaddon, or Nova Mortis has the hidden perk Firefly.
Yeah. So
okay.
I'm gonna have to go.
I didn't think it was a hidden perk Firefly. I actually thought it just randomly made some enemies explode. Period. When you killed them, I didn't even realize it was a hidden Firefly perk.
Well, it is random when you have bad aim.
Well, it has 90% aim assist, right?
I was making a joke about you having bad aim. That's why it feels random to you.
I mean, I thought that things I shot not in the head blew up.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
okay.
But I'm not sure. Now I'm questioning myself. I'll check this week and I'll find out and I'll let you guys know.
So the next thing is a little bit controversial in the community. Crimson Days will not be making a return this year. We enjoyed adding some gunfire to your date night, but we have other plans. Instead, we're dedicating our efforts to delivering different things for you to play. Last week at Bungie, we teased you haven't heard the last of the live team. Their next content update is taking shape. We're super excited to tell you about it, but not so excited that we'll jump the gun. There will come a time when we'll take a seat on our streaming set to talk about how we'll spend the springtime together. That moment will come closer to the thaw. So, this sounds like early spring update. Spring officially lands March 21st. So, I mean, if you want to get technical about it, we'd be looking at late March for the update to land. What's the scope of this update, and how do you feel about the lack of Crimson Days, Remy? One thing I'd like to add real quick, I guess, to this. They mentioned during the Iron Banner section of the weekly update this week that immediately after the update, the 2.5 update landed, we flipped the switch to return the Iron Banner to the Crucible. It's not really that simple, but you get the idea. Why isn't it that simple? How many Iron Banners have we had? How long have they known what equipment was going to sell? Why isn't that an automated process that is literally a switch flip at the time it happens?
That's a great question.
Like, it really, 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 really should be at this point. And that said, I would totally accept a Crimson Days identical to last year with identical rewards and said, hey, anybody who missed Crimson Days last year, here's your shot again this year. Crimson Days is back. It's exactly the same thing that was here last year. We're putting all our efforts into the new content coming this springtime. For those of you who want to have fun, there it is. that should be as easy as a flip switch too. And I feel like the same thing I felt about the Queen's Wrath. People complained about its simplicity, but it's better than nothing. People complain about lack of content, but can complain content's too simple, and then it never comes back. I'd rather have some simple content than none at all. What do you think about this, Remy?
I really enjoyed Crimson Days. It was...
So did I.
The tower was a little messy, but I like the variety in the gameplay. Like 2 versus 2 is a very, very cool and not overwhelming deal, because I feel like the matches went by really quickly, and it was a lot of fun, because if you were on the team of 2 that could take out even one of the other person, that was it. Like team shooting it's a very important skill, and even with the boost that I feel helped a lot for the person who was by themselves, it was still, I don't know that I've ever felt like I've had a better opportunity at winning a PvP game than in 2v2. And I wouldn't mind if they brought it back under a different deal. Okay, skip Valentine's, who cares? You don't take in your best girl, take in just a friend, like just play 2v2. Like I really liked it. I'm sad that it's not coming back, but I feel like I'm willing to listen to whatever it is that they think is cooler than this. And I absolutely agree with you. It should have been a switch. It should have been something where somebody somewhere can say, okay, and now in this part of the director is Crimson Days. Especially even exactly the same as last year. Like I understand that there's a lot that goes into it, and I understand that I don't know shit about what goes into it, but if I was designing a game, I would want these things to be modular, at least on the level of, here is a playlist with 2v2, here are the only maps it can go to, here is this one additional change to the game where once your team gets down to 1 person, that person has max speed reloading and gun handling. Like, it sounds to me to be so simple. I mean,
it's
clearly
a video game company. You seriously tell me nobody decided to save the game before Crimson Days last year? Like, there's no save to go back to? Come on.
Right, and even how hard would it be to just say, okay, here is a new version of that's exactly the same from last year.
It's like the developer version of someone playing Fallout and not saving anything but their most recent save, and then saying they're stuck, and then you telling them they're an idiot for not playing anything but their most recent save.
Right, I agree. Especially in Fallout, I have multiple saves. Here's right before I spent a lot of materials on something. Here is right before I went into this house where I know I'm going to have to make a decision about something. Yeah, I don't know.
Just right before this kick-ass battle, so when my friend comes over later, I can load it up and be like, check this out!
Right. Gray, what do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree with you guys. I think it's crap. I don't understand Bungie's decision-making process on this. Because my assumption is just like you guys, it should be pretty simple. And if what they were really saying is that we don't have the resources right now to revamp Crimson Days, we would actually want to put those resources into creating brand new content, why don't they just come out ahead of time and say, look, we want our focus to be on new content in the interim and then Destiny 2, and that's what we're doing with our staff and our team and our budget. So there's going to be no changes. You're going to get the same Crimson Days as you did last year. It'll be a fun experience if you didn't get to do it. For me, I loved it because it was one of the only opportunities that I had where in a match I could actually get some of those medals that are really hard to get for getting like 15 kills and no deaths and things like that, because you could actually get into these really, unbalanced matches where you and a teammate could really just wipe out a team, and then it actually got you in a place where I might actually get this medal for the first time. If it is as simple as just flipping a switch and just saying, we're going to give you guys, just be honest with us, be transparent. I think the community would accept the fact that and they would want Bungie to just say, we want to focus on new content, we want to focus on Destiny 2, we'll give you Crimson Days, but beforehand, just know it's not going to be any different than last year. Imagine if that's what they said before Festival of the Lost. If they said there's going to be minor tweaks, but it's going to be mainly the same experience, because we are focused on bringing you something new that's coming on the horizon. I think that we would have accepted that message way better than what we actually got.
Well, okay.
No, 'cause I thought this year's was worse than last year's.
Totally. Well, I think
Significantly.
Well, wait. But we're coming into it that after the fact, now we're mad that it was too much like the prior year. What if they gave their reasoning ahead of time before you go into it?
Now, see, I was afraid they were going to ruin it and was hoping at minimum it would be the same as last year's. So if they would have announced it ahead of time, it would have been like, score! Same as last year. They didn't ruin it yet. And unfortunately, they ruined it.
You know, I definitely agree. I wish they would have saved just that last state, you know, like, okay, well, here's a Festival of the Lost, and then just done exactly the same thing they did as last year. I still didn't have all of the helmets from last year. And I don't know. It would have been cool. But yeah, no, I definitely agree with you, Gray. You know, if they could even have said, I mean, just exactly what you said. Hey, here's Crimson Days. It's exactly the same thing as last year. We've decided to put, you know, all of our people on something else. If you want to play some Crimson Days, here's some 2v2 in this playlist. Go have fun or don't, you know, like, because that's what comes down to.
They're scared, though. Okay? They're scared because of the way the world works right now with video game advertisement and player fickleness to some degree. It's the same thing that happens with Queen's Wrath. They obviously got the message it wasn't overwhelmingly liked and that the community wanted more. So rather than continue to give it to us and improve upon it little bit by little bit, it was just gone and turned into expansion later on. Then with the same thing apparently is happening with Crimson Days, they didn't have the time to put significant improvements into it. And it was least close to, like, I you know, there's no way to really rate these things, but like I would say maybe slightly more people than liked it than didn't like it last year. But I think if you please at least 51% of the people with something, it's not a bad thing in my mind. Like, to me, putting something, an option in the game is never a negative thing. But I don't feel like Bungie feels that way. And then on top of that, I feel like the split is balanced in the other direction with the huge streamers naysaying it. I think there's a lot of streamers with huge followings, and I think perhaps there's maybe more of them than not that are vocally saying they didn't want Crimson Days to come back. Like Gathalion, for instance. He has, you know, over 500,000 followers. And someone like him's like, Crimson Days is broke, I didn't like it, it shouldn't come back. Literally, that's what he says. And then when it's announced tonight, you know, he tweets out, like, Crimson Days isn't coming back. I think that's a good thing. So I feel like his opinion on that might represent 51% or more of big streamers on it. And Bungie's been accused of catering to big streamers before. And things like this don't make me want to disagree with that statement.
You know, the only thing that I think is, again, just doesn't make sense is nobody's forcing anybody to play this, right? It's not where this is core content that to move on in the game you have to do Crimson Days. This isn't level 13 of Final Fantasy 15 that you have to do in order to move on. I can't wait till you guys get to do that level and we can actually talk about it.
They're just scared to death what these guys are going to say, though.
But the other thing is I don't get the streamers, because this is an event that's going to bring viewers to watch them do something that they're not already doing every day in the game. Why is variety and something you only get once a year a bad thing?
I don't know,
Even
man.
if they don't enjoy it, but they act like this is a bad thing, and I don't necessarily get that. The thing that is bad is how so many people, when you matched in, would just jump off the ledge because they were trying to get those ghosts. They would need to figure out. They would need a solution to that.
That was still fun, though.
Because as a streamer who's wanting to show content, if you load in and your opponents are always jumping off the ledge, you don't get to actually show anything. That could be very frustrating. So I do think that they would need to
We'd
fix
race them
that
to
little
the edge,
piece.
not let them win. We not let them
You-
commit suicide. We suicide first, and then they message us like, "What do you do? We're trying to give you the win," and you're like, "Fight us then."
Yeah, nobody wants to watch that. Nobody wants to watch
Oh, it was
that.
hilarious. We
You know-
were like crying, laughing. People would watch that.
Okay, so, part of the lore behind this Crimson Days was that this hunter and this warlock individually sought out this treasure. And while they were trying to unlock their treasure, basically these giant armies caved in on them, and they had to work together in order to fight their way out. And I was saying last year that that would have been a fantastic thing to do, having a 2-player PvE that put you in the situation that those people found themselves in, and if you could fight your way out of this, you would get some sweet treasure. I think that would have been cool. I think that they, at a year, they had more than enough time to work that out. But that definitely has to be more intensive than just bringing back the same exact thing. So I don't know. Sharks, what did you think about all this?
Okay, so when I read that this morning or this afternoon, I didn't read into it like this, but yeah, they were basically given an excuse why they aren't turning on Crimson Days, right? Okay, but I'm gonna call bullshit. And the reason I'm going to call bullshit on that, yes, it does take something to add these different, it's an update. It's an update. Somebody has to write the code for it. They have to make sure that they would have to change the drops would have to be drops for now. Yeah, they would have to change things. But here's the thing is somebody spent hours and hours and hours writing the code for Crimson Days, Crimson
That is
Doubles.
an excellent point.
That is you talking about wasting resources? Okay, now I understand. We all saw this. Okay, 4 out of the 5 panel members here saw this. Okay, the Queen's Wrath event disappeared. It was here, what was it, week 3, week 4? I don't remember.
It was fun. People didn't know what they had at that point. If they would have got that now, they would have kept their mouth shut and been like, this event's cool.
No, but my point is that they made this event, and they did a lot, really, for that event. And they said, oh, well, basically people abused it. I think that's the real reason why they took it away, right? Because people were using it for different stuff, and they never brought it back. Now that was a lot of man hours that they had put into that. Now they took some of that stuff and they gave it to us later on, right? But they kind of wiped their hands clean of it, and I don't understand that from a business point of view. When you're making stuff and you want to keep the public engaged. Week 2. Okay, thank you. It was week 2 that came. So they want to keep people engaged. If you make something, bring it back, even if you don't change anything. It was the same thing with Sparrow Racing. Can you imagine if they didn't bring back Sparrow Racing? People complained about Sparrow Racing last year. People weren't happy with it. Streamers weren't happy with it. Everybody had their moans and groans and whatever, but they still brought it back. Yeah, they added stuff to it. They added 2 new tracks, but that's all they really did. You don't have to add anything. You just play Crimson Doubles on all the maps that we have. It's just a playlist. That was fun. I know that there were people out there that didn't like it. It's because they didn't like getting their asses kicked. Too bad. You're not almighty God that can play every single game type and win every single time. It was fun for other people. Agrios and I had a blast. I played so many matches of that. I went in there with all kinds of different people. It was just such a different game type. To have it there, locked away in a little file somewhere, and them not, quote unquote, turn it on is just dumb. And it like I say, that's wasting resources. That's totally wasting it. Now, the other issue I have with this is they put in at the end, oh, well, we're going to get something else coming soon, right? Okay, well, we all kind of figured that last year, that when there was kind of like this timeline, and Chris Barrett and Scott were talking about what the timeline is, and they all kind of hinted that there was going to be an April update, basically. They said you're going to get the same kind of stuff that you did last year, plus you'll probably get like an April update. You know, they didn't say for sure, but that's basically what they're saying, is our next big installment is going to be the April update. So that's leaving a very, very long time for us to not do anything. They've already lost player base. If you're not going to have that event in February, bye-bye player base is going to be even smaller. And are people really going to come back for some stupid April update when in September we're all hoping the new game's going to come out?
Okay, check this out. Lays Summerstone has said in the chat, I think people shouldn't write off what they have planned yet, because they did say, let's see, we enjoyed adding some gunfire to your date night, but we have other plans. Oh, I guess, and then they go, instead, we're dedicating our efforts to delivering different things for you to play. Now, does that mean during this same time frame? Because if there's something else going on during this Crimson Doubles, what, Sharks?
It can't be.
What do you mean?
Okay, so they said that, okay, we got Iron Banner, and in the next few weeks, we're going to get an update, a fix, a gun fix, a big gun fix before anything else drops. Okay, so
in time for the next drop, we'll get the balance.
In time, they didn't say at the same time, so they're gonna. You think that they're gonna just drop it and then drop the new stuff at the same time? No, that's their way of giving us new content. They're gonna go through, rework all these guns. Here you go. We've done this big, huge update. Now you've got a couple weeks to screw around with all the guns. It's new.
I don't want to spoil you,
that's not
Sharks, but that's what they did last April update.
They actually say it here. They actually say, if all goes according to plan, the next update to Destiny will include some design work to refine weapon balance.
Right.
And above that, it says, the next content update is taking shape. We're super excited to tell you about it, but not so excited we'll jump the gun. There'll come a time when we'll take a seat to streaming about it and how we'll spend our springtime together. They say that's the next update.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So they're talking about that the February thing, instead of having Crimson Doubles, is you're going to get your gun fix.
No,
and
that's not. No, Sharks, they're not saying that.
What?
They're actually saying the next content update is taking shape. We're super excited to tell you about it. Not so excited, we'll tell you. Not so excited that we'll jump the gun. There will come a time when we'll take a seat on our streaming set to talk about how we'll spend the springtime together.
Right.
So they say that's the next update.
No.
Below that balancing act, they say if all goes according to plan, the next update to Destiny will include the design work.
The next update, not the next gun fix. There's two different things going on here. They said in this weekly update that they are going to fix guns.
No, that's what I'm talking about. Down in the section about balancing the guns, the very first line is, if all goes according to plan, the next update to Destiny will include some design work to refine weapon balance.
Okay, well then that's even more dumb. That if that's the case, which I didn't think that was the case. If that's the case, it's even more dumb. So we're talking about we're not getting any change to Destiny until March, April.
Late March, right?
So,
Is the early?
well,
they say it'll come closer
to
the thaw. That would be late March.
Because Bungie has kind of snuck in some of these gun balance tweaks in the past. I bet that we'll see this before we see the next content update.
Last time they did it with the update, and they specifically say it right here, I definitely say it's coming with the springtime update.
Hey, the reason I don't think that's right is I thought it was last week they implied that they were separating the two things. But okay, either way, raise your hands. Who's going to stick around in Destiny till April before we get anything new? I'm not. That's dumb. There's nothing to do. They want people playing. That's not going to keep people here.
You
And
know,
it doesn't make a difference how many big time streamers are going to, if Agrios is saying, oh, it's the streamers that are causing this because they're complaining. They are not, the streamers aren't dumb. The streamers would rather have some kind of new content than nothing, because what they're going to do is they're going to stop streaming Destiny. I mean, a lot of the streamers now don't do Destiny all the time. Goth doesn't do Destiny all the time. He plays every other game you can think of. So I don't know. I just feel it's really, really dumb on their part if they're not going to bring forward this content that they've already built. What's the point?
well, Lays says that maybe the people who wrote that code and were publicly shit on, and maybe they're just like, screw these people. And I don't blame them. The internet is a mean, horrible, ugly place with a lot of mean, horrible, ugly people.
It is.
Well, one thing I got to point out before, when Sharks is made his excellent point about, there was a guy who sat at Bungie and he sat down and he wrote all the code for that Crimson Days event, and right on cue, Z-Dog in chat says that guy probably got fired. That's what made me laugh before while Sharks is talking.
So, I want to completely derail you guys.
Do it.
There's a lot of weird words in that sentence that Agrios read off. And I'm going to throw my hat into speculation fire right now.
Yes.
The next content update is platforming.
What do you mean?
I don't want to jump the gun, but the next update is in springtime.
You're saying they're going to go Spelunky on us? We're going to have Destiny Spelunky or something?
Well, no, I was thinking just a normal platforming like you see in a raid, but as a thing, either a race or something like that. That's my random speculation for the night to derail everything.
I like that a lot, and they have done that previously. But as somebody who often reads into what Bungie says and does, I don't know about all that. I like it, though. What do you think about this, Jez? Did you enjoy Crimson Doubles? Do you think that it's that it should be or could be as easy as just flipping a switch? Or do you think, like Z-Dog said, that guy's probably fired, and on his way out, he just deleted he's like, oh, Crimson Days? Deleted.
Crimson Days was a good event. I don't think there was any bad about it, except for the ghost shells not dropping. But...
And they kind of fixed that a little bit. They made up for it a wee bit.
I do want to say, though, that there is a problem if they release it in March. This next update with content. Because March is a bad month to release something in right now.
There's agree. Mass Effect, the Switch.
Six things. 7 if you count Horizon, which comes out the 28th of February.
I do. I want to play Horizon. It looks good.
It's going to be a bad, busy month.
Yeah, but that's why they wouldn't do it till the end of the month. They give people a couple weeks to play these new games and then try to draw them back.
No, the problem is this continues on from the start of the month to the end of the month. There's just games coming out, really high-profile games, because they all got pushed from the fall into this quarter.
Okay, well then we go back to what are you saying that Bungie's going to do? They're going to sit on their hands until April and not do anything?
They've done longer.
And they lost people. They lost lots of people.
Now, they did specifically say that the update would come closer to the thaw. Spring starts on March 21st. So I kind of feel like this one's going to come the end of March. I mean, unless it... I mean, that's a pretty big clue to say if they weren't pretty confident about its timing. They actually talk about their confidence in calling the shot, too. So it makes me feel like, they're pretty being honest anyway.
Okay, let me bring something else up then. Okay, so we all months and months and months ago listened to Activision. I think it was an Activision calling, right? And they said that that Bungie needed to step up what they were giving to us as players.
When they
Okay?
announced Vicarious Visions team up with them.
Right. Okay, that was like a year ago, right?
Less than that, like 6-7 months ago.
Oh, well, it's still quite a long time, and we got something from both them and from Bungie saying that they were going to, right? I haven't seen it. Have you? We're getting...
Well, no, I believe they were more referring to the future of Destiny. And I think at this point, these people that you're talking about, this call at Activision, these people were all sitting around the table talking about Destiny 2 already.
I believe what you're saying, Agrios. That makes much more sense. I feel like they've overplayed the live team. Like, I don't know that we have an exact number, but I feel like they've been hauling ass on Destiny 2. Like, I feel like this is, they put out a really great game. I've been thinking about this a lot, and what is in Destiny and what Destiny does is fabulous. And I feel like this, I get hit with this feeling every time I go play anything else for any amount of time, and then I go back to Destiny for anything. I think, man, this game looks fantastic. It sounds fantastic. It plays fantastic. Everything that it did well or at all, it did great. Like, what a fantastic game. I feel like they oversold what we were going to see in the long run. I feel like Destiny, we're going to see that this is more of a standalone thing. I think maybe going into Destiny 2, like Destiny 2 will have the tools in place that we were hoping that Destiny 1 would have. So maybe what you carry, we will be able to carry over stuff from 2 to 3, but I feel like they had to really abandon Destiny 1 as quickly as possible in order to get the jump on Destiny 2 that it needed. Just this podcast alone, in the first 2 months after Destiny was released, even before, we had a million ideas that would be great to have in a video game, and more than half of those ideas are taking place in games that are out right now. So,
okay, so then I have a question then, and I'd like everybody's opinion on this. Would it, if what we're going to see is the incarnation of Destiny is going to be Destiny 2, which is going to be basically a separate new game, okay? Whether things come across for old players to say that they were there, whatever, let's say it's emblems or whatever, doesn't make a difference. They're making this new game to also draw in new people. Would it not make sense to do like every other game out there and take all your resources and put into making the new game and not worry about adding little content drops? You've already sold the game. You've already got your player base. They've already played the shit out of the game, way more than what they ever expected. I mean, Bungie has said that. Bungie said, we didn't expect people to play 3,000 hours. We didn't expect people to play 1,000 hours of this game. People don't do that, okay? They have said that. So why waste your time and effort adding these little bits? Just say, okay, this is Destiny. It's done. We're not adding any more content. We'll do Iron Banner here and there. That's the live team. Don't expect the light level to go up. We're not gonna give you an updated raid. We're just not gonna do that. We're not gonna use the resources, the time, the money, or the people where everybody else is working on Destiny 2, because that's what they do with every other game. I played the crap out of the very first Black Ops. I played that so much, and my wife was like, "How can you still be playing that game?" We didn't get updates. They didn't get updates. Everybody was working on the next game, and 2 years later, the next game came out. So why not do that with Destiny 2? Stop trying to tell us that they're doing stuff for it.
Well, they could be testing things, like changing things with Destiny 1 to see how Destiny 2 is going to be. Because right now, the most dedicated people are playing. The reason why live updates aren't big flashy things that happen like when we got the expansion packs is because I'm sure that most of their casual base is already waiting for Destiny 2 and not playing Destiny 1. And the casual player base is where they make the most money.
Do you really think that with the microtransactions they've introduced that the casual player base is still where they make the most money?
Yeah.
You sure?
Because I think every update you do get casual people back, and they are more likely to buy instead of trying to grind out these things because they don't have the time for it. And I mean, there's also your whale of hardcore players that are buying pack after pack after pack, but for the most part, I think you got people that are buying a couple packs here or there just to see what they get, or they might have silver left over. I don't think the hardcore has as big a numbers as they probably think they do.
I don't know that you're wrong, but I don't know that they would continue this whole box deal with the way the community has been vocal about it if they weren't making a supreme amount of money from it.
Well, you also remember the hardcore would be the ones most vocal.
Well, and I know from my experience, though, that too, most games that have some sort of microtransaction type box system, things like that, end up making most of their money from that. To the point where paid games often go free to play, because they are successful in making so much money off of that. I don't disagree with Sharks. I definitely think that all effort should be put into Destiny 2 at this point. I don't feel like High Moon Studios or Vicarious Visions are putting any efforts into Destiny 1. I feel like all of their involvement is likely going to Destiny 2. And I feel like you say, Remy, I don't feel like they've actually given specific numbers, but they've definitely expressed that their live team is not a large team.
Right.
And I can understand limited resources, but I can't understand why Iron Banner is not a flip of a switch. Like, you know what armor she's going to sell. I know what armor she's going to sell next at this point. We've gone through everything at this point. I can predict what every Iron Banner from Perpetuity is going to be unless they change what the lineup is. I'll tell you what the next Iron Banner is going to be each next scheduled Iron Banner from this point on. So why that isn't a switch, a flip of a switch, is well beyond me.
I mean, you'd think that it would even work out best for them with a limited amount of live team in order for these things to be switch worthy,
Yeah.
Or maybe what we don't realize.
But wait a minute, it's new code every single time it comes in.
Why?
It's probably because originally there was only so much room that they could put for the old consoles. I mean, there's an excuse. I don't know. And I don't think it's a good excuse.
But I'm talking about compared to last Iron Banner. You had an Iron Banner this last time with the same light levels, the same gear that's already been in existence forever.
Because they make a code where it's different gear. I don't know.
I mean, it should be a copy and paste situation. I mean...
I think it's bullshit too. I said that, but
one thing that Jez said that I thought made a lot of sense is if they are actually testing things in Destiny 1 right now to learn for Destiny 2, I hope they're learning what not to do with netcode with Destiny 1 right now. I hope that they're tweaking these settings and they're seeing, yep, we should probably not continue this in Destiny 2 because it's just too much garbage right now.
I feel like I really, really, really feel like Destiny 2 will have dedicated servers. I want to make that call. Like, I mean, more probably because I hope it is what happens than because of any other belief otherwise. But I feel like the way Bungie does interact with and listen to the community about certain things, that the community has been very, very, very peer, that very, 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 very vocal that no one wants peer-to-peer.
I don't think it will.
You don't think it will? Do you think you'll be able to?
No.
Do you think you'll be able to rent your own?
No.
Why not?
Because we all kind of joke, but at the same time we don't, and it's not just us; it's many people in the community that Destiny 1 is a beta for the true game of Destiny, whatever their incarnation is. that they want to play, right? And I don't think going and changing all of that stuff is feasible. You get, for instance, when you have game companies that completely change their render engine, that's a big deal. And adding dedicated servers and all the other stuff that we're talking about them doing, that's a big deal. And I think that's more than what they want to do with the game. They put together this system, and this system, like most gaming systems, whether it be a rendering engine or whatever, they put all that stuff together and they want that to last for a couple games. They don't want it to, we did this, we made our money, now let's go and make everything all new and put all this money into it. Yeah, it's a business. It's a business, and that's a lot of money that they would have to invest. And I don't think that they won't see it as they need to do that. They will just try to make a better game with what they have now. I think. It's kind of disappointing, but that's what I truly believe.
So you don't think that, I don't know, I feel almost like they were working on Destiny 2 even before Destiny 1 came out. Like at some point, man, that even explains why the Grimoire wasn't added until right before launch, because they had completed a bunch of the stuff and they reorganized it, and they're like, look, we need to get right on Destiny 2. Let's have this section of people flesh out whatever's here. You know what? I understand that it's not like flipping a switch, but what it should be like is like the custom games. Like Bungie should have an option where they just go into the thing and they click on that area, and there's a drop-down menu just like there is in custom games. Iron Banner, Crimson Doubles,
It can't be harder for them to set up custom Iron Banner than it is for us to set up a custom match. Right? Like,
Agrios is losing it. I don't want to derail us too much, but Jason Schreier pointed out a preview. I think it was on IGN, just like last week or the week before, and in his comment was, it's funny seeing what Destiny became because of what we're seeing in this article. And one of the things that they pointed out was that the ship, one of the spaceships that one of the Bungie employees was called a scout type ship. And I think that they made mention of something like it doesn't do very well in space battles or something like this. Like I don't remember what it was, and I wish I had written it down, and now I haven't. But I just wanted to throw that out there for anyone who wants to.
Well, okay, so here, this is what I'm going to put on that. Now you guys have all played video games for a very, very long time.
Very, very long time.
Have any of you ever seen a second game? Because I still truly believe that Destiny 2 is going to be a complete separate game. Okay, we're not saying that this is World of Warcraft. I mean, even World of Warcraft will have changed, but every single game that you have ever bought, whether it be Drake's Fortune 1, Drake's Fortune 2, whatever, whatever game you want to pick, there's always a lot of differences. Star Wars had one game where they were doing all land battles, and then the next game it was all space battles. Do you guys not think that is a possibility with what we're going to get in the next game?
Talking about separate titles altogether?
Destiny 2. It's Destiny 2. It's still Destiny. It's still the world of Destiny, but it's 2. Halo 1, Halo 2. Halo 2 was completely different than Halo 1. Halo 3. And I didn't even play it, and I saw that it was different. So,
you're still talking about all in the same game, though.
Well, people are still under this delusion that Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 are going to be basically the same thing. Why? It could be a whole. It's not
because
going to be,
Destiny 1 was insanely successful.
Whole space battle game. Do you not see that things like that could potentially happen?
No, I don't think it would happen because Destiny was insanely successful.
I don't think it would be that drastic that it would be a completely different type of game.
Like people complain about sparrow racing because it's not first-person shooting.
Well,
It's true.
I think the thing to look at is how many FPS games has Bungie made since I guess Oni, and that was a third-person shooter.
Right.
You could probably go back to like Myth when they did RTS.
It's kind of platformy too.
Yeah. So they probably kind of went into their design for Destiny originally because it was originally a third-person shooter. But
my point is that it's going to change that drastically, where it's going to be a race game. You know what I'm saying is that we're still holding on to that. This is going to be the exact same game, and my point to that is that it can be very different. Very different.
It could have a lot of extra things to it, but if it's not mostly a first-person shooter, it would be a business misstep for them. If it's not mostly a first-person shooter, no, let me put it this way: it's not going to be not mostly a first-person shooter.
No, I definitely agree with that.
I think they're gonna increase the game just like Uncharted 1 went to Uncharted 2. Like they added things that made the game feel better and be a better version of what it is. It's gonna be some drastic changes, but they're not going to overpower the feeling that this is Destiny.
Totally. And you know what? And every single developer at Bungie I've talked to has said the same thing. You know, every time I bothered them about a Forge mode or, you know, like any of the other crap that I want out of it, they all pointed me back to Halo 1 and where Halo was in that cycle of things. So yeah, it's definitely going to be more specifically than a first-person shooter. It's going to be a boots on the ground first-person shooter. This was, you know, once people started speculating out like crazy about space battles and things like this, Deej really set the tone and said, look at what you're looking at here, Destiny, when it boils down to it, boots on the ground, first-person shooter, shared world shooter. And, you know, that's what we're going to get. Destiny 2 is going to be exactly what we see here, but better and with more stuff. Like, that's what it has to be. And if we're looking at it from Destiny or Halo 1 to Halo 2, there was a lot of stuff that changed, but it was essentially the same. And then with Halo 3, it was like all of the best stuff from 1 and 2 with even more stuff on it. Halo 3 was so fantastic. That was the game that I probably spent most hours in. I did spend a lot on Reach. I did really enjoy Reach too. But yeah, I mean, that's what we're looking at. It's got to be, because like Agrios said, it would be a misstep for it to be too much different than Destiny 1. You know, sometimes I'll look at the graphics and I'll think, how are they even going to improve upon this? How is it even going to be better? Because it runs so smooth 99.99% of the time. You know, how are they gonna make it better? Man, I wish I could go down there and see it, but then I'd have to recuse myself from this podcast. Listen, I know too much.
No, you don't have to do that. They'll talk to you about what you can say and what you can't say. Like, once certain things are set out in the open, as long as you cite your source, you can then talk about it. Like, if someone else talks about it and you say, so-and-so said this here.
Then you say that, but
you just can't confirm.
There are a lot of things that you get an embargo, and it's an embargo for life, even after it's announced.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, smart gaming companies don't do that because they want streamers to talk about their stuff as soon as they can. So.
Well, as specifically, I played like a way early version of Destiny in January of 2013, and I'm still not allowed to talk about that.
But that's ridiculously early development type stuff. Like, yeah, you were playing like a version that wasn't even close to release at that point.
Right. You know what? And I tore that shit down too. Like, as I was playing, I was like, I kept doing the same moves over and over because I was trying to figure out like what the characters look like and what all these other things meant.
and I know you can't talk about it, but you played the version where crows still took you hostage and stuff.
Right. I've been out of the solar system and everything. It's space battles, No, I'm just joking. I don't know.
So now something that I'm excited about that I think I thought Sharks was like saying, but like it turns out that's not exactly where he was going with it. They're bringing in these other studios, High Moon Studios, Vicarious Visions. These studios are known for doing other things, making other games that aren't really necessarily like Destiny in some degrees. So my hopes is that, Destiny's huge. Bungie, I think Bungie was hoping for like a runaway, like an average AAA runaway hit, not like what ended up being what it was. I mean, Destiny subreddit has been one of the top 10 Reddit subs for like ever. They just crossed 300,000 people. These are 300,000 dedicated Destiny fans that have gone well outside and beyond, Bungie, to find a community to interact with and have subscribed in their daily feed. Say, I want to see this in my Reddit feed every day. I'm a subscriber to the Destiny the game here. And for PlayStation 4 in 2016, Rise of Iron was the second most downloaded DLC. Now, that's in amongst a whole bunch of, like, little Call of Duty map packs and things like that. And Rise of Iron was not like some cheap little, like, nothing map pack. And it was the second most downloaded DLC in 2016 on PlayStation 4. Like, that's huge. So my hopes for the future involve maybe stuff beyond just Destiny 2. Like, what if we had Destiny VR space escort missions where you're in one of your fighter pilots escorting Guardians going off on their missions in fighter pilots in PlayStation VR? And maybe that's what High Moon Studios is working on. Maybe you have a mobile game, resupplying Guardians on the front or some stuff like that, like a tactical overhead.
That would be awesome.
Hey, if we're throwing pie in the sky things, I hope High Moon's working on transforming spaceships.
Ooh.
Because that and Deadpool are what I know them from.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, Destiny is not nothing. Destiny is not a potential money-making property of the largest caliber. And I mean, look what you see coming from other IPs. I think Bungie just didn't necessarily invest enough at the start. They just didn't maybe take as much of a risk as they should have on Destiny 1.
But wait a
minute.
minute.
It got away from them.
I don't think it's got away from them, though. Okay, so look
I think there was money on the table that was left right away. And I think Activision and all of them know it. And I think that's why there's 2 more studios working with Bungie now.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but what I'm also saying is that it didn't get away from them. They didn't do it in the beginning because they didn't know. I mean, Bungie studios themselves say we never expected this game to be like it is. Okay, but this long after, they know now. That's why they have 3 3A figures out, which are high-end, expensive figures. That's why they have mega blocks, mega constructs, whatever you want to call that huge fake Lego. People have all kinds of names for it, but they have that toy set. They have the big ball head guys coming out. What are they called? Pop vinyls. Pop figures are coming out. We don't know what else they're doing. So I'm sure that they're doing something like that. The second they announced that they had Mega Bloks, I mean, that alone, you go to Walmart, you go to Toys R Us, you go to Target, you see that crap on a huge shelf. There's lots of it. That's people that don't even play video games will see that and pick that up. So definitely they're doing it. And yeah, they're bringing in these other studios to do more, and people said that right away when what is it, High Moon that does Skylanders, yeah, you think that they aren't thinking that? Of course Destiny they are.
Go.
Yeah, but maybe not necessarily Destiny 2, they'll do Destiny Go. I don't know, whatever the heck they're going to call it. But yeah, as a corporation, they are definitely thinking stuff like that, and they probably are implementing stuff like that too. I mean, here's the big thing that lots of people say on Reddit and all throughout the community: where are the books? Where are the magazines? Where are the comic books? You got Halo franchise. You go to the store and there's Halo books all over the place. Why the heck aren't there Destiny books? People would pick them up, and not just the people that are playing this game. Avid readers, sci-fi readers would pick stuff like that up too.
I agree, but we are massively running out of time very quickly. I wanted to make sure everybody had a chance to get out their Destiny conversation. Gray, is there anything else that you want to talk about before we move on to shoutouts?
Nope. Moving on.
Moving on. Sharks, is there anything that you want to talk about before we move on to shoutouts?
No, I'm just sad.
Why?
Because of no Crimson Doubles.
Oh, that is very sad. You know what? You could still set up your own Crimson Doubles. Like, we could set up...
You can't get that.
Do not lie.
Well, I mean, without that bonus of the one person, you could do.
The single person has to have the buff to take on the two people. It's
Yeah,
not
I
good doubles
suppose.
otherwise.
Jez, is there anything that you wanted to talk about before we move on?
Add that buff option to private
No, I'm
matches
good.
first, at least.
Agrios, was there anything that we needed to cover before we go?
Yeah, they actually, since the community's been so excited about the community bounties, which will continue on weekdays until February 10th, that after that, once per week, there will be a Bungie community bounty. So for 2 hours, once per week, a community member will be nominated. That means lots of community members are going to get a great little profile. It's a great fun time. They're going to spread that option, the ability to have a shot at getting that emblem all around the world. Your shot's very limited. I actually had the good fortune of being in the first ever PS4 Bungie bounty match ever with Professor Broman on his team. He really crapped out on me, did a terrible job. He apologized for it afterward. I forgave him. It's okay. We're all good now. Broman's my bro again. It's all good. Fist bumps. But yeah, I managed a 2.2 and tried to carry everybody, me and the leader on the team. But we were leading the whole way to 8,500 in the match, and they managed to take us in the last little bit by less than 500 points. So sad day for me. No emblem. Sharks and Mark Turcott, are the host of Guardian Radio, are still the only two Guardian 1 members with the special emblem. But I intend to still continue to work toward that. We had a great few members to start this week. Mr. Fruit is tomorrow, and My Name is Bife is on Monday the 23rd. So those are your next two to look out for. Watch Twitter for time slots for everybody. Those who play on both systems are oftentimes splitting up 1 hour on each system. So Xbox is getting quite a few shots at this as well. And one quick note from the community, those of you trying to get perfect rules on weapons, it appears that high caliber rounds on scout rifles does not function the same it does on every other type of gun. It does not function as well on hand cannons as previously thought either. On scout rifles, it may actually make them worse. Wow. It was previously mentioned by Bungie as being the intrinsic hidden perk on Mida that was removed. But it appears more like that the perk on Mida was actually simply an adjustment of the flinch modifier, which was then removed, which is different, but what is normally affected by high caliber rounds. And something along the way, according to very precise testing, has proven that high caliber rounds is, for the most part, detrimental on scout rifles. And it has been mentioned by very high profile people in the community who have actually apologized at this point about giving that information. But it's understandable based on the reasoning why this was thought to be accurate. But recent investigations by members of the community, I wish I had his name offhand because it's an excellent job, uncovered that this is not a good perk on scout rifles for PvP. So avoid high caliber rounds.
Excellent. Also, was there anything that you did special to get matched up with Broman? Like
I live really close to him, and in his chat, he would go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Q, 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 or something of that nature when he would hit the Q up button. So when he hit Q, I hit launch, and I went right in with him. Now, I tried over and over again for the rest of that time period the same way and never got into a match with him again. But, that's your best effort. I have another good shot coming up here with Gathalion. I'm not sure, but I think Mr. Fruit might live in Florida. I'm not 100% on that.
Triple Wreck does, too.
Triple Wreck does not live in Florida, but I'm not sure.
He lives over on that side of the...
He lives in the East Coast, but he doesn't live in Florida. I'm not sure where he does live.
So the next day, Agrios jumped on, and I was trying to queue up to get him in with Datto, and I know I've played against Datto multiple times, so I know that it should happen. But there's so many people queuing up for that. The likelihood of getting in is not very good.
The farther and farther away you are, the worse chance it is. But honestly, the strategies are either a team of no more than 5 or go in solo. As a solo player, you stand good odds because you can plug a single hole in a team, which gives you more chances of making the team for the slots available. You definitely don't want to go with a team of 6 because that eliminates the chance of you being on the bounty person's team because they are required to go in solo. So as a team of 5, you can end up on either side, just in theory, doubling or close to doubling your odds of making it into a match.
Interesting.
So definitely avoid a team of 6.
Got it. Excellent. Well, then that's it. We Spartan 117 checking out. Shoutouts starting with Gray.
So my shout out this week goes to both Remy and Sharks for the low price of only having to raise $5,000 at the Guardian Con stream. They're both going to shave off their beards on stream. And I can't be more proud of those guys for putting their facial hair on the line for such a good cause. So thanks, guys.
Well, you don't forget that the first step, the first $1,000, Sharks is gonna just shave this middle part, so he's gonna have these fat chops and this crazy dwarven beard, and then every additional $1,000 it goes down until finally he just has like that handlebar mustache, like the strongmen have. Excellent.
I'll shave my beard and cut 11 inches off my head.
That's pretty crazy. I've been looking for an excuse to shave my head, actually. Sharks.
I'll shave my beard except for my soul patch. That's not part of my beard. That's my soul patch.
My shout out is going to go out to everybody in the United States tomorrow because Mr. Trump is becoming president tomorrow, and there are some people that are not happy, some people that are happy. All kinds of crap we know is going to happen, probably protests and everything else. There are people that we have in Guardian 1 that are going to be going out in that mess, Dakota Dark, and a lot of other people that have to deal with stuff like that. So shout out to everybody in the U.S. tomorrow. Everybody be safe, be friendly, love each other.
Yeah, don't forget to turn your clocks back 300 years. Agrios.
I saw the best tweet earlier in the week. It was like it said, if you feel like you're living in some weird alternate universe, just remember that all this strangeness happened after they turned on the Large Hadron Collider.
I saw that as well.
I don't know who tweeted it. I don't remember offhand, but
somebody commented on that thread. Well, then how do you explain the 80s? That's a good question.
We just gotta suck it up and take responsibility for that. That's really funny because. We don't really have time for a large story. Real quick, I was talking about someone I knew being like a hippie, and I said that I was kind of like a hippie, and then someone's like, well, you don't dress like a hippie. You don't have tie-dyes and are all like peace, man. It was some younger guy I know. And I'm like, he's into rap. So I'm like, well, you don't dress like an 80s rapper. And he's like, what, like Biggie? I like Biggie. And I'm like, no, that's like late 90s. And I showed him like Grandmaster Flash from the 80s. And he's like, oh, what's that? It's just a really funny story.
Is that your shout out?
Yeah. Shout out to him for that.
Excellent. Jez.
Shout out to Zelda, my OG shout out.
Your OG shout out to Zelda?
Yeah.
Excellent.
The character, not the console. Not the series.
Excellent. My shout out goes to Deej. Because as much as it's infuriating and absolutely frustrating to read so many words about nothing, it kind of makes me giggle that he has to every week write all of these words about nothing. And he does a really great job, he does a really great job of saying the same thing, soon, TM, we don't want to promise anything that we're not going to be able to deliver. But it's nice. It's nice to know that somebody is doing that. I feel like a lot of people are complaining that we don't have enough information coming from them. We do. We have a ton of information coming from them. It's just not the information that we're seeking. They have kept an open conversation with us. We had some holidays going on. A lot of people left the studio, so that there wasn't much to say. But every week he comes up with the same thing. I can't tell you anything yet, but he finds different words to say it. And I think that that's really a talent, and I appreciate that. Deej, you keep telling us all of these words that equal nothing, and I appreciate it. So that wraps up episode Spartan 117. We would like to thank everyone listening for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any suggestions for topics to be discussed on the show, or have any comments on something that has already been covered, please leave them in the comments below or send them to feedback@guardian1.net. And we will see you next week.